Oh, I had to wear my Leaf jersey for this one. This is very frustrating for people living in Toronto who have season tickets or people who are aspiring to one day own season tickets. This isn't just going to affect people who have season tickets. This is going to affect anyone who's buying on the secondary market as well, because when one price goes up, the others will follow as well on the secondary market. It's brutal what's happening as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, a fan of a team that hasn't won anything since 1967. And yes, I am a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. That's why I felt inspired to make this video, because I think it was pretty big news. I'm a little late to that news, but we are going to discuss it in today's video. And that news is a 20% increase on season tickets in the upper bowl for Toronto Maple Leafs fans. And the upper bowl is actually the more affordable. I wouldn't say anything's really that affordable at the Air Canada Centre, especially beers and any of the food items you will get at the Air Canada Centre is pretty expensive. In fact, you pay a lot to be a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. You pay in tears, you pay in anger, frustration, ticket prices, and also jerseys as well. It feels like being a fan of this team is making a lot of people broke. Let's discuss it in today's video.
Toronto Maple Leafs are raising season ticket prices by a crazy amount and fans are pissed. Each season ticket section was raised by up to 20% as reported by The Athletic's Joshua Cloak. MLSE stated that these tickets were increased due to them being undervalued or underpriced, and this was backed by historical data. And if you were wondering which section saw those big 20% increases, it was mostly the upper bowl. Would you continue to pay for season tickets if they were raised by 20%? Let me know down in the comments, and if you want more content like this, hit the follow button.
Would you pay these ticket prices? I know like it's kind of an arbitrary number to throw it. If you're not a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, you're going to say, well, who cares about this? Now, the reason why I think this is also kind of scary is because Toronto Maple Leafs, they're not just like a team that makes money for the organization. They're also owned by the NHL, right? Essentially, the NHL has a control over all the teams, and some of the money that goes from the Toronto Maple Leafs helps actually fund the entire league, right? You're getting a team that makes so much money and is worth so much money that they actually can help subsidize teams and organizations that don't make as much. And that is frustrating, especially as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, because you're like watching all these teams win Stanley Cups, and here you are with potentially another failed rebuild. I really hope not, though. But you look at the team they have now and you see the talent that's there, but they're just not ready to get over that hump. They just can't get over that hump, and now we're going to go into a weird offseason after the playoffs where we could be losing one of our best players, one of the most talented players in the league, Mitch Marner, but I digress. We're talking too much about the team that I support when really we should be talking about the finances involved here. Maple Leafs raise season ticket price up to 20% in some sections, and the section that had the price raised the most was again the upper bowl that we were discussing earlier. Maple Leaf season ticket packages for 2025 to 2026 season have been raised by more than 20% in some sections over the season's prices. According to James Myrtle of The Athletic, one section with the largest increase was near the top of the Scotiabank Arena, where two season tickets went from $8,522 this season to $10,396 for the next year. And essentially you get about 41 games. So if you divide that by 4, do the math. It's pretty darn expensive for upper bowl tickets, like ridiculously expensive. Season tickets in some of the sections in the lower bowl are being raised by more than $2,000 to $28,240 for a pair of tickets. And that's obviously going to be in the lower bowls because that is ridiculously expensive. And the Maple Leafs in general, the team, not necessarily the team, more the arena, has been criticized a lot for being a quiet arena for like a team that has supposedly some of the best, most loud, passionate fans in the entire world for the NHL. Now, maybe only trumped by, I would say, Montreal for like more hardcore fans, but the Maple Leaf fans are very, very passionate, and you don't notice that. If you go to a game at the Scotiabank Arena, it can be really quiet, even during games where the Leafs are winning or performing well. So it is pretty frustrating because you want those real fans in the building to create this nice, authentic atmosphere that is more reflective of the fan base, but instead you're getting a very corporate Bay Street crowd, which is really hindering. I guess even some of the players are actually even lashing out. Like Austin Matthews, I think a few months ago, after a fight by Ryan Reeves, he said he wishes the building would have got a little louder after that, and I do agree. It is pretty ridiculous how quiet that arena can get.
Yeah, it was great. It was great, obviously. I mean, that's still a big part of the game, and he's a big part of this team, and you love to see that. Would like a little more energy out of him. from the crowd after that, I thought, it was a little quiet tonight.
Leafs are jacking up ticket prices on fans, and it's completely tone deaf. But the top of the building where the purple section is, where 2 season tickets went from $8,522 this season, they're being jacked up to $10,396. And the gold section of the lower bowl is seeing a $2,000 increase. So a pair of season tickets there is going to cost $28,240. This just feels like bad karma. Sure, go ahead and increase the prices of the lower bowl, but the upper bowl is where the real fans can afford to sit. They could have just made the lower bowl $31K and leave the upper bowl alone. The season ticket holders in the lower bowl are gonna pay that price still. Given the state of things, this just seems like bad karma and also tone deaf. If a team in the Prem tried to increase their tickets this much, there'd be a mob of fans trying to find the owner to physically kick them out of the club.
And that is true. I'm a Liverpool fan as well as a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. In the Premier League, if like an organization tried to raise ticket prices by that much, there would be a definite backlash. You'd even maybe see boycotting. Will we see anything like that from the Toronto Maple Leaf fans? Will we see any of them boycotting the Scotiabank Arena and just maybe like make a blockade outside? I don't think it is going to happen. Sadly, I don't think people should necessarily do that. I think it obstructs a lot of people in Toronto. It obstructs a lot of movement in Toronto. We already have horrible highways and stuff as well, so you never know. I don't think there's going to be that much of a backlash. Was the sad reality of it is like a lot of fans are just sitting there paying more for the scalp tickets that they have to pay just to be able to see their favorite team, and it's just going to get worse and worse every year, unfortunately. And if there's something they can do, if there's like one thing they can do that would maybe help this situation out, is lower food costs. I think that would be a little bit easier for a lot of fans to swallow if they found a way to lower like beer and food prices inside the arena, so people, after they spend that ridiculous price on these tickets, they don't feel like they're also having to go through the insane expenses they're going to have inside the arena. Now, I live in Calgary now. I moved here 2 years ago, and I've seen 2 Toronto Maple Leaf games here at the Saddle Dome, which is actually going to be closing in a year. And honestly, it's so much better for food and beer. Not necessarily the taste better, but the prices are way better. And you get rewarded, it feels like, even though sometimes you do have to pay a lot more, especially if you're seeing the Toronto Maple Leafs come to Calgary. But at least you have cheaper beer and cheaper food. And they even have like a happy hour deal. Maybe they could do something like that at the Scotiabank Arena, but regardless, that's where we are right now in 2025, and then 2026 as well, when the prices will actually be implemented. Brutal. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something with this video. Leave your thoughts about the crazy inflation in ticket prices in Canada, in particular the MLSC. Leave your thoughts down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.